So much, Sia, and it's not often that my name is pronounced correctly. Very much appreciate, and even more the strong connections with South Africa. I've been a few times to your beautiful country, and there's something magic about it. When you leave, you still smell the earth. It's really something beautiful, and it's with great pleasure that I speak today in front of all of you. And as Sia already presented me, I'm not going to do it again, but youth entrepreneurship is something very close to my heart. And we've been promoting it for quite a few years now. And I'm really excited being part of this webinar. So thank you so much. So yeah, development of the energy sector, it's not only coming from large companies. The government is making lots of changes in diversification and the sector as well. And what is the role of young entrepreneurs? Well, they bring innovation, new technologies, and business solutions. Entrepreneurs are stepping into this space with energy, creativity, and the ability to rethink how the sector operates. They're already developing solutions in areas such as hydrogen technologies, renewable energy integration, resource efficiency, and circular economy models. And these innovations, and that's the important thing, it's no longer niche activities. Great impact can be seen in contributions to upgrading industrial processes, improving supply chains, supporting the greening of the sector, and opening up sectors connected to the emerging green economy. Now, this is happening at a time when the oil and gas sector itself is undergoing major pressure to adapt. While it remains critical to meeting global energy demand, it is also facing mounting pressure to innovate, cut emissions, and transition towards more sustainable, low-carbon systems. And this is not a simple shift. It creates major opportunities for investment, technology, and new industrial growth. Now, looking at South Africa, this creates a real window of opportunity. With a big share of its crude oil requirements imported that increases vulnerability to external shocks and price volatility, the development of local industrial capabilities, the increased need for expertise and skills, and taking a more active role in the green economy as you expand globally can bring tremendous opportunities. It's about creating new industrial capacities and building a stronger and more resilient foundation for the future of the sector. And this is where I want to put the focus of my intervention today, being the role that youth-led innovation can play in supporting sustainable development and the broader green transition, and what is needed to create the conditions that allow them to do so. At UN Trade and Development, UNCTAD, entrepreneurship development is an important pillar that contributes to social and economic development. This means not just creating new businesses, but helping solve real solutions with benefits for local communities while creating jobs and increasing productivity, as well as stronger integration within local and regional supply chains. This type of innovation and upgrading is essential for building industrial resilience, reducing exposure to external shocks, strengthening domestic capabilities, and supporting South Africa's long-term development in the energy sector. And in this context, it's not simple transformation. For young entrepreneurs and startups to contribute in such a meaningful way, they cannot succeed on their own. And this is where ecosystems matter. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's a lonely job with constant pressure, especially in today's geopolitical climate, shifting value chains, and trade wars. Combined with the digital and sustainable transformations, entrepreneurs need to set up agile and resilient businesses if they want to remain competitive. But for youth, it doesn't stop there. There are many more challenges that exist. For example, young entrepreneurs do not have a track record, which makes it more difficult to get funding in the absence of guarantees. But even when they succeed, cultural norms may come in play where expectations exist to share business revenue generated among extended families, making it impossible for a youth entrepreneur to grow. Also, young entrepreneurs' lack of experience and access to networks and markets all needs to be built from scratch. And therefore, all support that we can provide is of great value. And this is where inclusive business ecosystems step in. If we quickly look at the different players that are part of such an ecosystem, First of all, you have the public institutions and regulators that can help create incentives to help young entrepreneurs in the area of subsidies, tax exemptions, de-risk investments, and the creation of incubators and accelerators while facilitating regulations and adapting to the needs of youth-led enterprises. They can also guide entrepreneurs towards economic sectors of importance to the country that show great potential. A second player is universities and institutions. They bring research, technical knowledge, and skilled workforce. We all know that without enterprises, new innovative products will not be introduced on the market. Therefore, universities and research institutions, as well as young people, should be encouraged to work together and create startups. Think hereby of innovation clusters and industry hubs with shared R&D facilities, testing platforms, and collaborative workspaces. Facilitating different intellectual property schemes and help with the search for investments can be among the support provided. Now, if we look at the third ecosystem player, this is the private sector. And here too, large companies can help foster both entrepreneurship and innovation. Here we can think of apprentices, mentoring, transfer of best practices, and investments into youth-led startups, the so-called business linkages. Also, the outsourcing of specific product development financed by multinationals can be a great supporting tool. Now, finally, also looking at the non-traditional finance sector, fintech, crowdfunding, they can help a lot in fundraising. They can help facilitate access and do this under acceptable conditions. Financial players do have a role to play. Investing in youth-led startups can be encouraged and de-risk investment schemes can be put in place. But as I mentioned earlier, young entrepreneurs lack experience and oftentimes skills. Business development service providers can bring support through extensive training, mentoring, regulatory and fundraising advice, access to networks and markets, and also how to grasp, for example, the potential of AI. When these players in the business ecosystem work together, youth-led startups gain access not just to capital, but to knowledge, technologies, and a supporting environment that opens opportunities to scale. And this is where UN Trade and Development's work aims to bring all these elements together, linking policy and capacity building to strengthen the full ecosystem. We work together with DBSD on a national entrepreneurship strategy that includes non-one-size-fits-all approach to entrepreneurship. Together with the Commonwealth Secretariat, we launched a policy guide focusing specifically on youth entrepreneurship and youth-led enterprise ecosystems. Now, beyond national strategies, UN Trade and Development also does entrepreneurial capacity building. Our Empretec program focuses on development of skills, behaviors, and mindsets that successful entrepreneurs need that include opportunity seeking, goal setting, persistence, and risk management. The program is actually already active for over 30 years and promotes entrepreneurship with a global network of 40+ business development centers and more than 500 trainers, including in South Africa through SAYTA. Now, for youth-led entrepreneurs, we have new activities targeting specific sectors, including industry, logistics, fintech, mining, and gaming coming up soon. They are designed to support startups unlock innovation and technology potential in their businesses, offering sector-specific training, expert mentoring, investor readiness support, and connections to industry players. Now, to conclude, I'd like to give 3 takeaways that you might want to reflect on after this webinar and perhaps take on board. Firstly, targeted policies is very important. The National Entrepreneurship Strategy, including youth-specific measures and targeted capacity building programs for entrepreneurs, are important to ensure young entrepreneurs have the necessary skills and operate within the right enabling conditions. My second takeaway is the private sector, financial players, and R&D institutions and universities. They should invest in youth-led startups and means to foster innovation. The third point is that entrepreneurship development efforts should be embedded as part of a broader agenda of productive capacity building and value chain upgrading in the energy sector for the transition. Innovation efforts should not happen in isolation, but feed into the larger industrial development and long-term resilience of the sector. Thank you for your attention, and over to you, Sia.